Thanks for the setup, Chris. During a campaign stop in Philadelphia on Thursday, Bill Clinton was repeatedly interrupted by Black Lives Matter protesters, and he finally decided to tell the truth about the 1994 crime bill.
See these other signs? This is what's the matter. I don't know how you would characterize the gang leaders who got 13-year-old kids hopped up on crack and sent them out onto the street to murder other African-American children. Maybe you thought they were good citizens. She didn't. She didn't. You are defending the people who kill the lives you say matter. Tell the truth.
This is kind of a Rorschach test because the Hillary supporters, you could see them there, cheering. They're obviously embracing what Bill is saying. But overall, isn't this going to hurt Hillary?
This is absolutely disgusting that the Clintons continue to portray this lie that the 94 crime bill has not impacted the African-American community greatly. Billions of dollars for private prisons, took out money for rehabilitative services for those that were in prison. We're talking about job training. We're talking about drug rehabilitation, leading to a recidivism rate of 75% after 5 years. And now, I guess, some consultant, which they normally get all their consultants' information, he's running his line that Black Lives Matter, although I don't agree with them on many things, that somehow that they shouldn't be upset with the fact that him and his wife supported the 1994 crime bill, which has devastated the African-American community. So I find it very much so disingenuous that he's pushing this rhetoric, and he needs to apologize. Not that he said recently, yeah, I think I might want to. Let me see what the poll numbers say before I decide.
What else? Something else he really pushed that was disturbing, I thought, in his defense of the super predator comment and the 94 crime bill, is that he took responsibility for reducing crime as a result of the crime bill. He said, and he basically, in that soundbite you just played, says, well, Black Lives Matter, what about black-on-black violence? You're defending the people that are killing black lives. And it really is it was basically all the wrong things to say to the Black Lives Matter movement. But also, it's just not true that the 94 crime bill is what has contributed to reducing crime. The reason that crime was low in the 90s is because of a good economy, if anything. And that myth is basically a right-wing myth that has been debunked by numerous studies, including the Brennan Center.
The crime bill you're saying
reduced crime. That more incarceration reduces crime. It doesn't.
I don't think that that's a right-wing myth, because if we look at the 94 crime bill, we see that Republicans didn't even support it. So why would Republicans defend a Democratic action to in jail black people? I don't see that.
But the line that mass
you don't support the crime bill?
No, they did not. It was the majority that voted for it were Democrats.
I thought Newt Gingrich negotiated this thing.
No, he did. This is what happened.
Bill Clinton.
It was about 30 Republicans that supported it.
That was 2 years before the
100 plus Democrats supported it.
It was but the bottom line is this. No. Look, I don't know how old you guys were in the early 90s, but there was a significant problem. Bill Clinton didn't pass the crime bill because he had some deep-seated belief in what was in it. He did it like he did everything else. It was driven by the polls, and it was driven by his base. Yeah. And there was crime. You go back to the whole cocaine sentencing, crack and powder. Yeah. That was pushed by the likes of Jesse Jackson, who said this crack is being basically brought into our community by the FBI or whoever, and you need to do something about it. And so Bill Clinton was responding to his base for this. Yes,
to your point, if I may, just really quickly, the Crime Commission came up with a study, a report, and they showed that there was a racial disparity when it comes to sentencing for crack and cocaine. Absolutely. The Clintons got that report and threw it in the garbage, did nothing about it. So when he comes up and he makes statements about the Clintons themselves, how great they are for the black community and what they've done, totally disingenuous, a bunch of lies.
Why did the minimums for crack, why were they raised above powder? Do you know that why?
Because it was people of color who were using crack.
And because the leaders in the black community were saying that you need to do something about it because the penalties for crack were too low.
I don't think the solutions that the black leaders you're talking about that they were asking for was the type of the way we've seen it play out, where 1 in 9 African American children has had a parent incarcerated. That is not what
that's not what they wanted. It's the law of unintended consequences. But to act like Bill Clinton went against his base when he passed this bill, he did not. He lost the House because of this bill. It was not a Republican bill. It was Bill Clinton responding to polls that told him he should push this stuff. And so it's of his own creation. But you have to understand what was going on at the time.
Right, but what we should also understand is what's going on now. I mean,
now this is one of the times where we say what the Democrats thought was a good bill has unintended consequences that are really bad, and we need to get rid of it.
Even unintended. Who takes money out for rehabilitative services and say, "Oh, there's no chance that somebody can return back to jail"? That doesn't sound unintended. That sounds like a very consequential action that they knew what would happen.
Something else he defended was welfare cuts, saying that helped bring the black community out of poverty. I don't think anybody in the African American community,
in the middle of the
aren't
stock
a million
market
people slated to lose their benefits this week because of the bill that Clinton signed in '96? I mean, people are still really feeling the effects of the gutting of social services, the pushing of the crime bill, and somehow the Clintons can get up there and defend it. Or at least Hillary can try not to, but Bill's still going out there. I wonder whether or not it will affect them and affect their popularity with African American voters.
I suspect so. And Michelle Alexander has weighed in.
She has been, but then why do we continue to see the trend of African American supporters?
I mean, we're talking about polls in the South elections. If I may, go ahead.
Well, I'd like you to reality check this. Your question: why is it that older African Americans continue to support the Clintons, younger African Americans are supporting Bernie? I think that what we're looking at is proof positive that the media has been running a Bernie blackout. Older people tend to get all their news from television. If you get all your news from television and Bernie got 27 seconds versus Donald Trump's, 16 hours or something at a time, then, people don't know about him. Yeah. Younger people get their information off the internet. Bernie's all over the internet.
Yeah.
Another.
And I would agree with what Tom said. I know we don't have much time, but Black Lives Matter unequivocally supports Bernie Sanders because they believe, unlike the Clintons,
they have not endorsed a candidate. In fact,
but
they're very critical of him.
But the leaders of Black Lives Matter all the time on social media. I see it all the time.
I see them actually being very critical of Sanders and saying he doesn't have enough black. That he doesn't have enough people canvass. They're constantly criticizing Sanders for not getting raised. They say he talks about class too much.
What I've seen is these leaders within the Black Lives Matter movement supporting him, and younger African Americans, millennials, for the most part, support the actions of the Black Lives Matter movement. They believe that he's an individual who actually cares about black people, unlike the Clintons, who have a proven track record of not caring about the African Americans based on their action and rhetoric. Super predators being one of those comments.
Though, and you too, Tom, is this a signal that in the general election the Clintons are going to pivot to the right? I mean, is this
all lives matter?
Well, exactly. Is this like the Sister Soldier moment of this race?
I think it's really hard to say how much Hillary Clinton has figured out that the times have changed and has decided to become actually a real progressive. I think it's entirely possible. I remember that FDR did not campaign as a progressive in 1932. He campaigned on balancing the federal budget. That was his big campaign thing, pay off the national debt. Once he became president and saw the crisis, he became FDR that we know. And so,
I think she's going to pivot. She's been protecting Wall Street.
I think if she becomes president, she's going to pivot to the left.
But this is the thing. She's been claiming that she's a progressive. She gets behind whatever is a movement for that time. She embraces it.
I think she pivoted to the left because the country has moved to the left.
When you have Goldman Sachs in your bed, and we know that.
Well, yeah. Okay, I can't.
That's not a Sanders campaign myth?
No.
Gianna, Anya, Chris, thank you all.
Thank you, President.
Thanks, Tom.
Coming up, the FBI